Since you have a degree in VFX, like how do you think that has helped you in terms of being a filmmaker?
You need to know something, like a little something. I'm not saying you need to know how to do VFX. You don't have to. But at least know what you need to prep for on set. And if you don't know that, have someone there on set who can tell you what to do. And for God's sake, listen to them. That movie is extremely confused because
These are just opinions, so don't get offended, please.
Oh, switch on your mic.
Hello everyone. So we are back again with another episode of Filmfaffing with Sid and
Adhvith. Adhvith!
Advith. And so now we have a permanent member, and we have thrown Aarya out. He used to piss me off a lot.
Hmm.
So and he's a brother, so
What?
he used to piss you off a lot
Yes.
also.
He's to piss
No, we are
on
brothers.
me. But yeah.
So Advith is here with
Hmm.
us today. He's also co-founder at On Black Media, and Advith has a degree in VFX. That's his specialty. That he has a degree,
That I have a degree at all. Yeah, that's
and
special.
now he is a writer, filmmaker, editor, and everything. So, so what department in filmmaking do you like the most?
Oh, I love directing the most. Just being on set. I like the pre-production, post-production process of all of that. I think on set, that's of course, that's a lot of fun. But I also really like the pre-production process of it. It's
Okay.
really fun.
So, since you have a degree in VFX, like how do you think that has helped you in terms of uh, being a filmmaker?
So I think for me, it's helped a lot in terms of planning, in terms of breaking down scenes. Like it helps a lot in visualization, basically, because that's 90% of pre-production, anyways, right? You're visualizing in some way or the other, be it writing or be it storyboarding or whatever it may be. And that's probably the main thing that the degree finally helped out with.
Okay. So, since we're going to discuss today mostly about, like VFX, uh, so can you think of a film, like in the last few years, which has had really, really bad VFX?
Oh, cats.
Okay, and what makes it, like, according to you, what makes it bad?
So it's actually fair and unfair to say cats. Um, Unfair because technically, if you look at any shot in that movie, it's great VFX. It's really good VFX.
So every shot has good VFX.
It's got great VFX, like the hair texture, the fur, the way things ruffle and move, and the way they've managed to uh, mix, the way they've managed to mix a human body with a cat and all that. It's really well done visually. What's bad about it is the idea in the first place. It's
Oh,
a
yeah.
terrible idea. They never should have done it. It looks like a weird monster, and also it's also very confused. There are cats that are wearing fur coats.
Hmm.
So what happened? And why? And okay, they're cats, but then why aren't they running on all fours? They're walking like, like that and stuff. Why? You just walk normally.
So the problem was more with the
The
idea, the
idea,
concept itself.
the visualization was all off, and there I have to blame Tom Hooper,
Okay.
which Arya is going to be very happy that I mentioned, because Tom Hooper and many other directors that now it's coming out that, see, we live in a world where it doesn't matter what the story that it is that you're making, there's bound to be some visual effects somewhere. Like it's if it's not a main function in a film, then it's some kind of assistance, removing a background, cleaning up something, adding something. It's just a tool that you're just going to have to use. So you need to know something, like a little something. I'm not saying you need to know how to do VFX. You don't have to, but at least know what you need to prep for on set. And if you don't know that, have someone there on set who can tell you what to do. And for God's sake, listen to them. which it's coming out with a lot of directors that either due to ego or due to whatever reason, they don't know how to use VFX, and they won't listen to anybody either. And I believe Tom Hooper is exactly like that.
So he didn't listen to the VFX
Yeah,
supervisors
apparently
on
he
set.
was tyrannical and extremely hard to work with, and would be very, very toxic to everybody and stuff. Uh and he probably had some vision of this movie, which, by the way, if you've seen the play Cats, right, the televised play, which I remember seeing in the early 2000s in Star Movies. It was like this special where, sometimes Star Movies would do these specials that they would like promote like in throughout the day, and then in the evening they would have that special. Cats was one of them. And I remember seeing it, I think 99 or 2000 or something. And in that, they're wearing these full body suits and stuff, and they're pretending to be cats and stuff like that in the play. But it's fine because it's a play. In a play on a stage, it's okay to be like really over the top and stuff. So and that was fine. He probably saw that and was like, I'm gonna do this, but I'm just gonna motion capture everything and create this weird hybrid man slash cat monster. So yeah,
Okay.
that's
So I think there was this one Indian film which tried to do that, with Rajnikant in it.
yeah.
So you feel the same about that film also?
No, so Kochadayan is okay. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it properly. Actually, is it
Even I don't know.
Kochadayan? I think it's
Yeah.
Kochadayan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be. So that movie, and by the way, we're going to get killed after this because
It's Rajnikant.
it's sacrilege to say anything against
Rajnikant.
the
I thought
Rajnikant.
it was Modi. But
And that's now we can't air a thing. Okay. No, no. So that movie is a clear example of not enough time put in. The director, the producer. I don't know who directed the movie, but none of them
it
had
was
any.
his daughter actually,
Oh, lovely,
Aishwarya Rajnikant.
lovely.
That
Yeah.
I know.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense actually. Her first movie.
Her debut film.
Wow. Talk about just overstepping.
No, I don't think that was, because there was 3 with Dhanush. That was
That
and
was
that why this
impossible.
Kolavaridi. She directed that.
Which was first, Kolavari or
No, Kucharayan came much later. I think 2014, 15 something. That was back in 2011. Why this Kolavaridi it became
Kolavari was
world.
in 2011?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You feel old now?
I feel ancient. Oh my god, that was 2011.
12 years
Okay.
back.
Well, let's just talk about VFX. This is depressing now. Kochirayan is a clear example of just bad planning, no time, like not enough time given to any of the processes. You look at any scene over there, the motion is off, the lighting is atrocious, the rendering, everything. It's all around.
And I think recently a trailer came out, Adi Purushan. It's
Oh yeah,
getting some serious flag for bad VFX.
yeah.
And do you think it's the same problem?
I think so. Yeah,
It's
it's pretty
still
much the same
continuing.
thing. It's not enough time given, and there's a reason also for this. See, the reason why we, more often than Hollywood tend to bring out a movie which has just extremely bad VFX. One is of course because we just don't know. It's not that our artists are bad. We have great artists. A lot of the best VFX in the world is outsourced, to India to do. But the problem is that the US is now going through its 4th generation of VFX artists. That means there are many cases where you have literally like a master and a pupil, and that person becomes a master, and then another pupil, another one for 4 generations now since the 1970s of what we call modern VFX, right? But India, we're probably at this, like if you count Gen Z, then we're in our 2nd generation. Nobody over the age of 40 would have ever had to deal with VFX of any sort. So a lot of processes, a lot of standard templates, a lot of things that you need to prep for and all that are things that we are figuring out now. And this is just not known by the people who are holding all the cash, the studio owners, producers, these people
They
who
don't
really,
know it.
yeah, they call the shots at the end. They're the ones who give the time scales, they're the ones who give the budgets. If they had some idea about it, then I'm assuming that there would be slightly more better quality stuff coming out.
Okay, so this question just came to my mind. Like, how was VFX done back in 70s and how is it different now? Because like the process of editing has changed a lot, right? So in terms of, VFX, how has that process changed from 70s to now?
Yeah, that's a great question. Back in the 70s, it was basically a slight evolution of practical effects. The first movies that you would call visual effects heavy or CGI heavy movies was the Star Wars movies, and their VFX was majority of it was practical. The models, the ships, all of that stuff were totally practical. The only thing that they were doing was that they were putting those ships into space, right? And the way they did that was by first shooting them plain against a blue screen, cutting that out manually, cutting that image out from the film, adding it to another blank slate film which would have the background put in, which was a negative, and then this is all frame by frame, and then moving it again. So all of their cameras were motion rig cameras, which basically means that it could perform the exact same motion in the exact same way any number of times, because it was pre-calibrated. So if they
So for every shot, they would have to like kind of rig that camera for that motion.
Yeah, so they would design one motion for that camera to do, and they would do it multiple times. They would do multiple passes. So they would show a ship moving in one particular direction with the camera moving in a whatever, some sort of a dynamic way. Then they would remove the ship. They would put something else, maybe like a planet or something like that, in the background. That would be for a background, but they would have the camera move in the exact same motion. Why? Because it's easy to match that later. You take the cutout of the planet, you take the cutout of the ship, put it together, and put the space background behind it or whatever. It all lines up perfectly because the camera is moving. So that was 99% of how they solved those amazing shots back then. And that's why even today, if not anything else, the motion of it is still absolutely correct.
Okay.
Motion and the lighting.
And now, how has it changed?
Today it's completely softwares, right? Everything that I'm saying is done entirely on a software. All of those layers, which back then were literal layers on a light board. It's like it's just a board where you have light projecting from underneath it, and you put your film on top of that, align every frame up, and get it all in place. Those were the layers back then. Today the layers are literally on your software, like Photoshop or Premiere or whatever it is.
Just the softwares have changed.
The softwares
basically.
have
The
made
process
it.
remains mostly the same.
The process
The
is
layers.
exactly the same. In fact, the names of the processes also are literally the same, because even today, if you want to change layer modes, and add like a digital flame onto a footage of something that is not burning as yet, the best way to make it merge to blend is screen mode. So literal words also haven't changed yet as yet. So it's like that.
Just like another noob question, but I think I should be asking it. So generally, what, like, even I have had this conversation for a long time. But what is the difference between VFX and CGI? Because people say that Nolan doesn't use VFX, but his films are such grand in scale, and
Yeah.
he uses CGI.
Yeah.
So what is the difference there?
So there's no. So the difference is just in the definitions. VFX is visual effects. That's the umbrella term. Under that, you have special effects, you have CGI, you have compositing, and various different processes. CGI means computer generated image, which basically means anything that is completely made in a computer, like say a dinosaur, or like King Kong, or whatever it is, because you cannot make that in real life. It has to be done purely on this thing. Whereas other things like stitching things together, like a scene or whatever, where you put like a mountain in the background, or you remove something, that is, say, compositing, but it still falls under
So
the
then he's
bracket
still
term.
using.
Oh, yeah, he does. It's just that
He
he's
doesn't use
just
green screen, maybe.
no, he does. So
Yeah.
the thing is, the it's actually kind of falsely reported, because people who are writing all this don't realize it. He does use CGI, he does use VFX, but he prefers to use real models and practical effects and have the CGI just complement it. Like in Interstellar, from what I hear, any ship that you see, no matter what ship it is, there's one circling one, there's another one that they're going in. All of the ships are completely models. They're real, miniatures. And the background, the black hole and stuff is totally CGI, right? Like that's
Yeah, it has
completely,
to be.
yeah. It has to be. They can't make that practically. It's impossible.
It's
So
there,
yeah.
but you can't shoot it.
Yeah.
You'll die.
Like, I mean, honestly, if I'm assuming Oppenheimer has a nuclear bomb at the end of it, right? We would know if he really did. If
But he
he,
did no one test.
huh? They did like a minor
Minor test, but
test sort
still,
of thing, yeah. So
he
and then
bombed.
yeah, so you can't. I literally, launch a nuclear bomb just for a movie. So I'm assuming whatever we see is going to be some compositing, some actual shots that they put, and some CGI for sure. So, yeah.
Uh, okay, so nowadays, like this, there's people are reporting it, and even I feel the same. There's this superhero movie fatigue.
Yeah.
So, is it more because of the genre itself, or is it because people are like, no, these the visual effects in these films, like people are so kind of bored with it, like it's the
Yeah.
same thing repeating.
Yeah.
So, what do you think it is?
So one thing, so I think there are two things here. One is that like the fatigue is, I think, just because it's just too much of a good thing.
So the genre.
The genre itself is just too many. It's just too many, and also let's be honest, you can kind of, what the template of a superhero movie is going to be. There's this guy, and he meets this person who's like their enemy, who they've known from the past, and then he gets beaten up by them, and then they continue the story a little bit longer, and then he learns something from that initial fight, and then fights the bad guy at the end and wins. That is a number of superhero movies. So that's the writing process itself, which is becoming too repetitive. The VFX itself lately has gotten bad. Like post 2020 has gotten bad because it's just
After
too much work
Endgame.
after Endgame. Because I would say even like post Endgame actually, because it's just too much work. I mean, you have so many different series, you have so many different movies, and there's too little time put in, and too few people working, and most of them are working on extreme overtime. From what I hear, like Disney and Netflix and one other company also, I can't remember, are abusing VFX artists to another degree.
Warner.
Maybe I don't know exactly, but yeah, they're basically, it's become a point where they're completely working on overtime, and it's not paid overtime. They're just on pure overtime, so a lot of it is just free work, working extremely long hours.
So you made a switch at the right time.
Oh yeah,
Would have been
I
one of
don't
them.
regret my switch
I'd
at
have
all.
been talking to Insomniac Adhvith.
Absolutely, I respect those guys, so much for the artistry that they do, but it's not for me, and I always knew that it's just not for me. Oh yeah,
No, you're saying something.
no, I was gonna switch to something else, but yeah.
But yeah, like I got to know so much about VFX today. I've been friends with you for 4 years,
Yep,
5 years almost now.
Yeah, it's
But
close 5 years. Yeah.
yeah, this podcast had to happen for
yeah,
me
yeah.
to gain some knowledge.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll see you.
Yes.
We'll see you once again
Yes.
some other time. And
Absolutely.
thanks for coming today.
Thanks for having me. This has been really great. I've actually wanted to be on this
couch.
Not this couch.
This is not a casting couch.
Yeah.
This is a podcast
This is
couch.
a podcasting couch.
Wow.
So
So we'll see you again some other time. Until then, this is me, Sid. This is Aarya's brother. Thank you. Bye-bye.
thank you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Sarah!